Back with some more GeoGuessr tips and tricks, and today is over Ireland. And Ireland is a very uncommon country to get in GeoGuessr, so that's why I'm going over it. So, for Ireland, a lot of the tips I would normally have in a video like this, you can just watch in my United Kingdom video, because they are very similar kind of countries. So I'm going to gloss over some of those common things between the two, and mainly go over the things that separate Ireland from the United Kingdom. So let's get to the tips. Not the best one to start with, but it is definitely startable. So, first of all, Ireland drives left, like everyone knows. But and these outer yellow lines, the double you see in Ireland and the United Kingdom all the time. You have this architecture, specifically in Ireland at least. You don't see as much red brick as you do in the United Kingdom. You see a lot of more like white buildings and stuff like this. So like Scottish buildings, like French looking buildings and such. And then also, the Ireland does not use yellow plates. They have a blue strip on the back of their plates, so you can easily tell it from the UK that way. And then also, Ireland doesn't use English predominantly. Well, they do, but they also use Irish. So now for this specific location, which is to deal with the city. So Ireland has a few major cities like Dublin, Cork, Limerick, and such. Dublin's pretty simple. You'll know you're in Dublin. It is just a very big city. But Cork, specifically, is out of all the major cities in Ireland, it is hilly. It's pretty hilly. Like you can literally just we can see the hills. Dublin, you won't really see hills. Limerick, you won't really see hills. Carlow, all these cities, you won't really see as much hills as you will in Cork, at least. Now for this location. So, Ireland is interesting because it has two different Gen 4s. It has the normal Gen 4 and then the car Gen 4. And the car Gen 4, you can get a lot in like the west and here. You don't get the car Gen 4 up here quite yet. So if you ever see this, you know you're not up there. But of course you see rock walls and such. But it's very hilly. We have these little small hills that you often associate with like Scotland, Iceland, Faroe Islands. Just this like olive green color that lacks vegetation, very rocky, very common in like Scotland, some parts of Norway and Iceland. But you also see this a lot in Western Ireland, the western coast. You can also see it up here, but we already ruled that out. So we're probably going to be in the far west because it's very hilly, but it also is these type of hills with absolutely no vegetation at all. Okay, and then here's a tip that I have been using for a while. So instantly when we look at this, we do see some red brick because it still has some influence. But then we look here, we see English, and then we see the blue strip, so we know we're in the United Kingdom. Not United Kingdom, Ireland. But we see a lot of British influence, so it's going to be near the United Kingdom. This car, specifically, this exact one, I don't really know how to describe it. I guess you can say there's like a black semicircle in the middle. You see this in Dublin, which is what I knew. So every time I saw it, I would just go Dublin. But then you can also get it in like this northwest area and some other parts in the east, but mainly Dublin. And then I think you can also get this car in some parts of Germany, but I associate this with Ireland, well, Dublin mainly. And we have a lot of British influence. It's a big city, so it's probably going to be Dublin. First of all, the road lines. So these little outer yellow like stripes that we see here in Ireland, you only see in Ireland and Europe. You don't see these in the United Kingdom. The other country that comes to mind when I think of these specific lines is New Zealand, but you can tell that's not New Zealand. So that's a good way to tell. Ireland does have a green motif. Obviously, like you see these like green parts in the pole. These bollards, which are usually associated with Ireland, they're green. These bollards are pretty much Ireland exclusive, but you can see them in other countries. What else is here? Of course, I'll get to the language in a bit. Okay, so something that's not here currently. So like we see these European speed signs with the red outline, but in Ireland you also see the like the yellow diamond sign that you often see in North America for certain things. I think it's for like warning signs and such. And then the chevron, which is also not here, is the one you see in like Portugal, Brazil, and Norway and such, which is kind of cool. Now on to this. So the roads, instead they will be N mainly. You can't see M, but they'll mainly be N. While in the United Kingdom, they're A. So that's instantly you know it's Ireland. And also the green motif is back. But in Ireland, for a lot of signs that are in Irish, there's also English and vice versa. So here, like we have the English name for all these, but then we also have Irish versions of them, which you can even tell you're not in England, and from the green motif you can tell it's not like Scotland or Wales, or just by the language itself, because you're not mixing up this for Welsh. Welsh is pretty obvious to tell. But yeah, so just from these we know it is Ireland. I'm going to try to see if there's anything else at this specific location. So here's some Irish Gen 2. So these specific like, Gen 2 locations, you see them mainly in Western Europe. You can also see them in like Finland and Greece and maybe a few others. But then with these hills like this, pretty much limits it to Ireland, UK, and France, and then this on the left. So, and then we can further tell it's Ireland because this says yield instead of giveaway, which giveaway you see in the United Kingdom, but yield you see in Ireland. But if you didn't know that, my most useful Ireland tip is these metal fences. Because if you see the end of the fence curve like this, like a cylinder shape, not cylinder shape, but a curve, then you are in Ireland. Or maybe Northern Ireland. I'm not sure what Northern Ireland does. And if you see them not do it, and instead go at like a perpendicular angle, this goes all the way up and then you're in the United Kingdom, or probably Northern Ireland. So that's easy. And Gen 2, you can probably find everywhere in the island, so. And then for this, I think this is the last location. This isn't as hyper-specific, but we have this very vast, flat landscape that's not flat, if you get it. It's very hilly, but the hills aren't like the most parts of Ireland, where they are unvegetated, well, at least compared to the west, unvegetated and not as direct, but the more, can't think of the word, but I'll get the word here in a bit. But they're not as direct. They're more vast, more sparse and such. But we have Gen 4, as you can tell by the camera. Maybe you can look at the 2021 copyright, which you can even just from that know it's not the newer Gen 4. This part of Ireland up here resembles the west, like the western hills, the western like mountains and stuff like that. Except they're going to be vegetated more likely. Also windmills you probably get up there a lot. But then we can see some pretty like big I call them mountains at this rate, which you also do see up here. But the main thing is that we have Gen 4, but it's the Gen 4 that's not a Google car, if you get that, which you can see all over Ireland, but you see that 100% of the time up here of Gen 4 coverage compared to these other parts where you can see the car. And then this landscape would pretty much only be here, maybe like here, some parts of the west and southwest and such. But yeah. And also this part will look like Scotland a decent bit. Okay, that was a quick tips and tricks video. I didn't need to go that in depth about Ireland, but it's just to help save some people some UK Ireland 50/50s. So that's it for this tips and tricks video, and I will see y'all in my next tips and tricks video.